Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to make a mermaid skirt. We will be starting with the basic skirt. I have a tutorial on how to draft the basic skirt, but I'll be giving you the summarized version. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Drop your comments while you're watching. Let's get to it. I already have my horizontal lines here. This is the baseline, which will also serve as the waistline. This is the hip line, and this is the length. I want a length of 43 inches. This is the front pattern, and this is the back pattern. All right. So for the waist, my client's waist is 35 divided by 4. That gives me 8.75, and then I'll add an extra 0.25 as ease allowance. That is 9 inches. I want a dart of 0.75 on both sides, making 1.5. Now I am going to add 1.5 to 9, and that is 10.5. So I'll mark 10.5 on the waistline. You also need your bust span so that we will get the location of the dart. The bust span is 8 divided by 2, that is 4. From the center front, mark 4 inches, and then I'll draw a straight line. Now to the hips. My client's hip measurement is 44 divided by 4, that is 11. I am not going to mark 11 inches here. Like you know, the back hips is larger than the front hips. So I am going to deduct 0.5 from 11, and that is 10.5. Now I am going to mark 10.5 inches here. Now, because it is going to be a mermaid skirt, I want it to be a little tapered towards the knee area, right? So I am going to mark from my waist up to the upper knee 19 inches. I'm going to ensure that what I have on the knee area is going to be about 1 to 1.5 inches less than what I have on the hips. I'm going to mark 10.5 minus, let's do 1.5. That's 9 inches. So I mark 9 inches here. So whatever I have here is the same thing that I am going to mark on the M line. Now I'll connect the lines. Now for the waist dart, from the hip line, I will measure 4 inches upward. And then on both sides of the dart leg, I will measure 0.75 and I'll connect it. Now to complete the front, come down by about half to 0.75. And then I'm going to connect the 0.75 mark to, I'll blend it in around here. So if you have watched my video, you will understand that the reason why I depressed this front is because of the tummy. All right. Now let's move to the back. This is going to be my center back. I have marked the waist to hip already. Now I am going to mark my waist measurement, which is 9 inches. Okay. So 9 plus 1.5, which is the dart intake for the front, that is 10.5, right? Mark 10.5 here. Get your bust span. My bust span is 4. Mark 4 inches here as well. Connect the line. Now for the hips. Remember that for the front hips, I did hip circumference divided by 4 minus 0.5. Now for the back hips, I'm going to do hip circumference divided by 4 plus 0.5. That is 11.5. But then remember that if the difference between your waist and your hips is more than 10, you go out of the center back by about 1 inch. And then it is from that 1 inch that you measure what you got. What we got is 11.5, right? But if the difference between your waist circumference and your hip circumference is less than 10, you go out by 0.5. So my client's waist is 35 and hip circumference is 44, which is 9 inches. It is less than 10. So I am going to come out of this hip line by half and not 1. So it is from this half that I'll mark this 11.5. Now I can connect the waist to the hips, and then I'll connect here as well to the new back hips. Now, same thing we did here for the knee area. From the waist up to the upper knee is 19 inches. Draw a straight line. Now I'm going to deduct 1 inch from what I have here. So what I have inside here is 11. Deduct 1 inch, I have 10. So I'm going to mark 10 inches from the center back. And I'll mark the same 10 inches at the hem as well. Now let's connect. I'll blend it so that I don't have any sharp edges. In order to know where I'll connect these two, I'll mark about 5 inches downward. I'll blend it in. So this is going to give us the bum effect. Blend all sharp edges. Now for the waist dart, from the hip line, I will measure 4 inches upward. And then on both sides of the dart leg, I will measure 0.75 and I'll connect it. Please note, this is the center back. This is where the zipper will be. Okay guys, so before I say we are done, remember when we are constructing the bodies, at the zipper area, the center back, we usually go in by half an inch so that we can eliminate the zipper bulge. So here, I'll do the same, come in by half an inch and reconnect that half an inch to here. Okay. Now I am going to add my zipper allowance, 1 inch zipper allowance from this green line. Looking at this, you see that we already have that bum effect at the back. So this is my pattern. I'm going to cut it out. And after doing that, we are going to draft the mermaid pattern directly on the fabric. Okay? So this is the pattern that I'll be using to cut the mermaid skirt on the fabric. This is the front pattern that I have placed. My fabric is on fold. Now it depends on how wide you want the sides of the skirt to be. I want it to be about 8 inches. So I'll measure 8 inches from the side of the skirt. Connect it this way. And then from the upper knee, I'm going to connect straight down this way. You can make this wider than it is right now. Depends on what you want. So by doing this, it means that it will be tapered up to the upper knee, and then from the upper knee, it's going to be wide. Ensure that you blend the sides so that you don't have any sharp edges while you're sewing it. Measure like 1 inch upward and then you blend it inward. So now while cutting on the fabric, remember that I did not have any seam allowance on the pattern. So first I am going to add an hem allowance of 1 inch, 0.5 inch for the top part. For the sides, I'll add a seam allowance of 1.5 inch, which was the same thing that I added on the bodies. I'm still going to make a slit at the front, but let me put that aside for now. So guys, for the back pattern, there are some things you need to put into consideration when you fold your fabric. This is the side of the back pattern. Remember, for the front we used 8 inches, so you need to have nothing less than 8 inches here. And then for the center back, you need to also consider the width of your train. Depends on how wide you want it to be at the back. All right, so for me, I think I'll go for about 15 inches. Okay, now this is 15 inches. For the side, I'll use 8 inches. 8 inches. Then we are not just going to draw it this way like a triangle. The train also has to have a length. Okay, now from the hem of the dress, I'll come down by about 10 inches. Draw the line straight down. So you need a wide fabric to make this. Please take note that my fabric is folded into 2. Now I am going to connect from this knee line, passing through here to here. So this is my train. Ensure to eliminate all sharp edges. Now I'll come up by about 1 inch from here and reconnect to this line. After that, I will connect this mark to the midpoint somewhere around here. Just like this. So it will be like an S shape, okay? So this is my train. Now I'll connect the knee line to here. Blend it. Go up by 1 inch. This is done. I'll add my seam allowances all around. I already have a zipper allowance here, so I don't need any allowance anymore. I'm going to add the side allowance. I used 1.5 inches for the front. For the hem, I used 1 inch. And this is the back panel. I hope you understand what I have drafted here. So I'm going to cut it out right now. So guys, this is the final look of the skirt. You see there is a little alteration on the front, this one, and that is because the client wants a cutout at the front. That is why it is like this. So I've done the cutout, and the next thing I have to do is to start joining the fabric together. What I'm going to do first is to take in all the darts on the main fabric and on the lining. So this is my center back here. So I'm going to leave the space for the zipper. From the waist, I'll measure down about 8 inches. Leave the space, and then I'll sew straight down to the train. Then for the front pattern, what I'll do, after taking in the dart as well, I'll put it right sides facing, so the right sides of the lining against the right side of the main fabric. And I'll sew this open part first, the slit, with a 0.25 inch seam allowance. Alright, I'll do that before sewing the sides of the front to that of the back.